Hey everybody, it's John Cheplak here, and I want to welcome you to this hour of brilliance in leadership. And today I've got here with me Mark Hutchins and Jeremy Clevin of My Home Group down in Phoenix, Arizona. What's up, fellas?
What's happening?
Good to have you guys here. So let's just jump right in. And you know what? I like to reverse engineer everything. And let's start at the top with the Inc. 500 recognition as one of the fastest growing companies. Start there and go backwards. How about that for an opening?
There we go.
Like
Let's kick it off with a bang, right?
Right?
No, that's it was a huge honor. It's a testament to our growth. Obviously, the growth in the agents count, but the growth in the productivity as well. As I think that's really awesome. For us, and at the end of the day, some people are going to believe it, some aren't, but we hopefully this helps our agents earn more business, and that is really truly what we are all about. I mean, we truly care about our agents. We care about them as individuals. We care about them growing their business, and that's really what this is a testament of. It's a huge honor for the entire organization, and the cool thing too is that one of 7 real estate brokerages in the country that got this honor, so it was pretty big deal. So
Cool. Cool. Mark.
Yes. So, for me on my side of it, it's a brokerage accomplishment. Obviously, Jeremy and I have worked very hard to get here, 16 years to be exact.
Wow.
And it's never fast enough. But this last year, obviously, it happened quickly, given the Inc. 500 designation. And proud to say that we are going to get it again this year.
Wow.
So it's not just us; it's our agents, man. I mean, we've got really great agents. We've focused on their business, focused on their production, focused on their growth. So it's not only a testament to us as owners, but I think also to our agents. So, like Jeremy said, they should absolutely plaster on everything they possibly can and use it as a very nice accolade when they're out there getting business. But to grow over 1,700%, and that number is going to be even higher. We're super proud and super honored. We couldn't do without our agents.
Yeah.
I mean, John, it's really about the pocket square, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Well, I poofed it out pretty high for you guys today. So
Yeah, you guys are coming sexy. You always make me look bad. It's interesting the strategy you guys use. You say, come by the office and visit, after I've been hiking, and then you pull me into a meeting, but I digress. So let's go back. Mark, you mentioned 16 years ago. So again, congratulations for the growth. And right now, I think you guys are averaging just around 50 agents joining your company a month, right around that number.
Yeah, just shy. Yeah, we've reached that point so far since the beginning of this year. So yeah.
And so for context, and certainly we'll go back to the beginning so people can experience the trajectory and that your organization today has how many agents?
Just over 560 agents, currently with us right now.
So. Good. So you're recruiting at a clip right now of about 10% of your current agent population. Go back to 16 years ago. What brought you guys? I think you guys go way back before the 16 years too. But I don't know. But let's start from the beginning and bring it forward. What got you guys going into the real estate business and brought you to where you're at today?
Yeah, it has been a long time. We're like brothers. Sometimes we fight like brothers. Mark will try to wrestle me in the hallway, and it's
I'm not big enough to wrestle him. So
we have some fun along the way. But we've known each other for a long time. We got into the industry. I was 21, Mark was 20, and we didn't have a clue what we were doing. And so we made a lot of mistakes. We were fortunate enough to have a huge run up in the marketplace. With anyone with a license was doing well. So we were doing well. And then we hit the wall. We like everybody else. And with the worst of the worst. I mean, we were literally scraping our center consoles for change to go to Taco Bell to get a bean burrito.
Which are delicious, by the way.
Which are delicious regardless. And I'll go get one right now, but. We went from rolling, no debt to a couple $100,000 plus in debt, like I said, at the worst of the worst, really. And, somehow, some way we made it through. And, we really reinvented ourselves in 2012. Mark and I think we're One thing, we were the benefactors of, I think, some good timing because, we didn't really start to grow. While we've been at this 16 years, we didn't really have our model in place and really a vision or a desire to grow, until early, 2012. So it's been about 4 years. We finished, the first year after making the decision that we wanted to grow, we wanted to get some new agents, some people that want to take care of the community and do good business. We finished that first year with 37 agents. Now we bring on 48, 50 agents a month, and so it's been a long road. It's been a grind, but day one, once we made that decision, this is what we're going to do, and believing in ourselves more than anyone would, and still to this day more than anyone does, is really kind of the long and short of it. So
Mark, what and what it seems is over the last, what I would say, 2.5, 3 years, would you say that you guys have had the greatest amount of growth in your company as far as agents are
Oh,
concerned?
absolutely, without a doubt. Like Jeremy said, so 2012 is really when we unleashed it to the marketplace, so to say. But since 2012, we've seen our biggest amount. But the biggest year of growth would have been 2014 to today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see our biggest year for sure, in my opinion, this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're already on pace with what we're doing to hit 1,000 agents by the year's end. And our plan is to do that, 1,000 agents, and also $1 billion in production this year.
Wow.
So, we like Jeremy said, we commit to it. We believe in ourselves. We believe in our organization, believe in what we're doing. But we've seen the most growth in the last 2 years, hands down.
So in 2012, how many agents did you guys have at that point in time in the company?
Like 10 or 11, I think, Jeremy, right?
Well, we started with a handful, but it
wasn't a lot.
We finished that first year, I want to say, 30, 37, 38 agents at the end of 2012.
And what turned the corner for you guys? Certainly, what was it? I think just, gosh, 2.5, 3 years ago, you were at 100 and change agents.
Yeah.
Roughly.
2 years ago this month, we were at 100 agents, and now, like I said, 560, creeping up on 600. So.
Okay, so
and that's net, of course. So we do have a very high retention rate. A lot of good people, a lot of people come here and they like it here. I mean, that's the goal, the culture we've created. But
we are fortunate. We are fortunate enough to most of the agents that we lose is, I think, just subject to the market, not leaving the brokerage, just leaving the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing.
Well, that's an important thing to measure too. Certainly. So when you look at 2012 to 2014, you kind of plugged along, and then from maybe 2013 forward, what shifted for you guys? What really happened and continues to happen? Because the interesting thing is I've watched the trajectory. What is it? Has it been 2.5 years since I've known you guys? About that?
About two, about 2 years.
Just over two. Okay. And so what happened in that window? Because here's the interesting thing that I saw you guys do is you started to grow, you started to bring on more people, and then it continued to multiply. Take me back to that moment, 2.5, 3 years ago, where you really turned the corner up until now, because that's, now what's happening is you guys have busted through a ceiling. And just like you talked to, you're sitting here at 550 and confidently, and I know too from knowing your organization, when you guys say you're going to hit 1,000 people, it's not just some exciting number. It's going to happen. So talk to what's really happened over the last 2.5 years to make that big, huge jump in the trajectory you're on now.
Definitely. And a point when we say 1,000, these are 1,000 people that are going to fit our mold, fit our culture. Kind of everything that we're doing. So, we're not just about getting to a number just to get there. I mean, we want the right people, and we always believe that's important. But, when we started a couple years ago, the industry didn't know who we were, and maybe to a degree they know who we are now. Just about, in my humble opinion, I think that just about everybody in our industry knows who we are by now. But overcoming obscurity was a huge challenge for us, and we talk about that a lot. Same thing that agents need to be thinking about in their business. Obscurity. Not enough people know who you are. Not enough people know what you do. How do you make the world aware? How do you get attention? How do you add value and do all those things that I know you speak to, John, all the time. And again, the industry just didn't know who we were. Why my home group? I can go to these other places around the industry. I can, go to these other brands, whatever it is, and why my home group? So there was just that. We have 30 agents. We're kind of a startup, even though we've been around, and we can add a ton of value, and we know the business, and we can help you grow your business. And again, we believed in ourselves so much, and the value was really there that's how we started to grow. But now with having 550 agents, doing the amount of business that we're doing, I mean, we're on the map. We've cracked the top 10 in Arizona, right at number 10, but we made it, and so everybody by now knows who we are. So there's not that battle really. Well, who is my home group? Because most people in our industry know who we are. Do the consumers all know who we are at this point? Are we a national brand? No. Will we be one day? And that's our fault. The fact that the consumers don't know who we are to this point, but they will, and they're starting to see and recognize. So,
from a strategic point, Mark, what would you say the strategies and systems have been? Certainly you've got to do the work, and in the end, commitment will always overcome any model, any tool, any gadget. I mean, one of the things that I've recognized with you guys is that you understand it's the human beings and the human experience first. So, keeping that in mind and looking at your growth, what would you say from a strategy and a system standpoint? Talk to other broker, owner, managers, recruiters, in our industry. What has worked so well for you guys? Because now it's a machine that I know you're constantly optimizing, but what has worked so well for you in your strategies and your systems in the day to day?
I think that we took our focus on actual agents and themselves and their business. You said human connection business or human connection type of approach. That approach honestly has changed, I think, the game. That it's, a lot of brokerages, that are great companies out there. Their approach is just a little different, where the focus isn't about really the agent. It's more about the brokerage itself. And I think that going into this new millennial age, this Gen X age, and the way people are wanting to receive and get content and get their information, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's just about them. Just like it's about the consumer, it's about the agent. It's not about the brokerage. It's not about us. Of course, we have to be the biggest, baddest brokerage in town, and we, in our opinion, that we are, and we've got to function that way. We've got to provide support, resources, training, knowledge, everything that a good brokerage provides. But it goes beyond that, because once you've done that, you have to get your agents productive. And to me, how you get your agents productive is by showing a true focus and care. Like Jeremy and I legitimately care about each and every one of our agents and their business and their production, and then helping them grow and helping them get to the next level. Because we started seeing that change of where Jeremy said there was kind of a timing thing when it came to this for us that we were very fortunate to be a part of, is agents are looking for a change. They're looking for something that's different, something that's new. And I hate saying the word outside the box, because we're not outside the box, but we like to think and be different than others. We like to take an approach of personal branding of the agent, because agents, let's be real, people work with individuals. They don't work with a brokerage. So that's helped us big time. And I think that now that agents see that we do care, like you said, we do have a machine. It is moving now. It's functioning. We get organic referrals from our agents that are with the organization already. But they see that we truthfully give a you-know-what about our agents, their business, and truthfully their success. And that's not a line of crap. That's just the reality of the situation. And that mentality now has trickled down to our agents. Our agents love to be involved. It's a collaborative environment. They love to help each other. Our agents are helping agents. So really, we're an agents first brokerage as opposed to consumer first.
If I could piggyback on that real quick too, John, I mean, just like an agent needs to focus in their business on the things that they can control, those are the things that we did when we decided we wanted to grow. We decided we wanted to recruit. I mean, how many doors are you going to knock on? How many open houses are you going to do? How many calls are you going to make? For us, again, on the brokerage level, it's different, but some things are similar, obviously. How many calls are you going to make? How many appointments are you going to set? How many people are you going to get in front of? our percentage of people that are more attracted to us now in terms of, okay, if we meet with them, let them know what we're all about, see if we're a good fit together, more people are naturally want to be a part of the organization than it was years ago. You know what I mean? Maybe you get one out of 5 people. Now it's a lot higher. But again, it's focusing on the things that we can control and really measure. It's a whole lead measure versus lag measure. We know what our results are. Or what the we want to be to 1,000. We want to do 1 billion. Okay, those are the nice goals, and we put those out there. But okay, we can't really just control that by saying we want to do it. It is okay. How many people can we meet with? How many calls can we make? How much exposure can we get as individuals, as a brand? I think a lot of broker owners, we had to commit. When you're asking us about, what is that breaking point? I think it's really about consistency. And I know, John, obviously, we know you well and follow you. I mean, you talk a ton about consistency, and we've been consistent now for a long stretch of time. Most broker owners you see in the marketplace, they get to 40, 50, 60 agents, and then they kind of stop or they hit the wall because they realize, well, the money isn't necessarily in being a broker owner. The money can be more in deals or transactions. So they go back into that transactional, those transactional functions. We committed, we said this is going to be year 2, 3 years potentially before we break through, and it's going to be a grind. As Mark slips off the screen,
drinking water, getting water, just getting water.
Just do it on camera so we can see what you're up to.
Well, and I think here's the piece, Jeremy, that I come back to though. There's one piece that I don't think in your I don't think you're overlooking it. I think you're not giving you guys credit, and sometimes it's that third party observer that can show that. There was a point where we talk about that grind where you guys are making the calls and you guys are doing the follow up and you guys are doing the interviews and you're hiring people. But here's what everyone listening to this conversation knows, and what I know and you guys know, there was a crossover point. And see, this is where the challenge is, and I think I see where the breakdown is, and you guys have mastered it. And what's interesting is we haven't talked about this directly. And I talk to all the leaders that I work with. Is the responsibility to replace ourselves on a daily basis, to transfer our skill sets. So that's the piece that a true leader and the capacity and the ceiling of an organization is in your ability to do that or not, or to default back to, well, we can't go there because it's I've only got so much capacity and I can make money selling. You guys had the vision and made the commitment to say, you know what, we're going to build other people underneath us to push us forward. So talk about that piece. Certainly I know you guys, you're prospectors, you're lead follow-up guys, you are interviewers. I mean, you do the work, but you've brought people along. Talk about that transition, because I think that's the breaking point where someone goes back to default and sells houses, or they can break through and get to where you guys went.
It's true, and I think in our heart and our soul, we have always cared about our agents and have always wanted them to do better. We've always wanted to share the knowledge that we have with everybody around us. And it's always been in our heart and soul. And then you have helped us to even put it on a bigger scale, to say, look, it is okay. It is okay to share. It is okay to operate in abundance and try to help out everyone around you. Invite agents from all over the state, all over the country to come in and be a part of it and learn, and we can all learn and grow together.
I've got a client that I spoke with on the phone. He's at my 8 a.m. Monday coaching call out of the Midwest. I think he's got an appointment set up with, a different brand, different model. He's flying in for a company event, and I think he contacted Mark, and you guys are sitting with him to open it up.
Yes.
Yep.
Shane Torres.
Yes.
Yep.
He's from Iowa.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah. You bet.
Yep. He's coming in end of April to come do a tour of the office. He said he's going to be in town. I said we'd love to have him.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that's kind of been I think the coolest thing that we've seen as this all has unfolded. You have such a large reach, John, and obviously that reach, Joshua Smith's reach, other agents' reach within the brokerage. We've brought on some really, really amazing, productive agents that came from bigger brands. So that is a testament to what we're doing. But their reach also is helping the whole organization, because it helps everybody. And this gentleman is from another brokerage, from a bigger franchise name, and he seemed real nice. And hey, I welcome him into our organization to see what we're about. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and it's that cross pollination that takes
Yeah,
place because we all, and we've learned that is, the more we share, the more we get. Coming back to that though, and I want to go back to this one spot though. There's only so much you guys could do to grow this organization. Talk about how you've pulled other people, because here's the thing where people get scared. Well, people will only join, my home group if it's Mark or Jeremy that are doing all these things. There was a point where you guys had to let go to a certain extent, which is what
yes,
gets in the way of leaders and say, you know what? We need this person to make the call and represent who we are, what we do, and what we stand for. We need these people to follow up on the leads of agents that we're trying to bring in. Talk about the development and the systems that you had to create and have created to support you two in growing the company, what that looks like.
sure, sure. It's like anything else. It's so tough to delegate. Obviously, being who we are and that we are somewhat perfectionists when it comes to our business, the execution of it, and trusting somebody. So it took a bit. It took a bit for Jeremiah to do it. But what we've done is we've really sought out, in our opinion, very much so like-minded people who believe in exactly what we're doing. So, and these are people that have been in the industry that have a big reach here locally as well. But they really truthfully believe, understand our vision and what we're doing. So, for instance, for training, it's not Jeremy and I at this point doing everything or all the training. We are absolutely heavily involved and we teach classes, but we also have Kelly, who's our director of agent development, who reaches out to every single one of our agents. Not only does she follow up with them with a call, she also sends out an email, and also it's posted in our closed Facebook group. So there's no way that you'll not know what we're doing, whether you're with our brokerage or not, because we invite also everybody. We also have Michael, who's our director of business development, who's turned into a really not. I hate even calling him a recruiter because that doesn't do him injustice. He's got also a great reach in the real estate industry, but also a trusted individual. And when you listen to him do an interview, it's regurgitating what Jeremy and I say. So
He's that, by the way, is he the guy, that weirdo that I saw doing some strange pose out in the desert?
That was him, man.
Who would do that? Who would do that?
Please. What's wrong with that guy?
John, who would stand on top of a mountain?
Yes.
Who would stand on top of a mountain with their arms in the air?
I'll let you know tomorrow about 8:39 a.m. on Rattlesnake Ledge.
Yeah.
Nice.
But talk about Mark, that's the big piece right there that I think people can really gain from it. And it's the most, I remember when I went into Prucal, Nevada, Texas, we had multiple offices in multiple states. And my mentor, who, I mean, he gave me so much. He says, welcome to the most challenging job in your life. And that's leading other leaders, developing other leaders, which, that dictates whether or not it's no longer, it isn't you two guys that are going to take it to 1,000 people. It's the people that you bring along with you. So talk about that transference of skill sets with those particular people. So number one, it was identifying the like people that certainly have a reach out in the marketplace, have an exposure, but the other second piece is people that certainly have their own independence about them, but they sing your song and they're aligned to you. How have you worked and continued to work to develop them in, the way they talk to people on the phone, the way that they interview, the way that their message is aligned to what yours is? Because the real risk in growth, which, and I know your company very well, the risk in growth is you guys could wake up one day and you haven't called me. I only get calls when there's problems. And so, it's the good and the bad. You guys are doing so good. There's no problems, which is really good.
Good stuff too.
Yeah, I know, Jared. Yeah, you surprise me sometimes too. Remember that conference call? Wait, someone's calling in. I'm like, what are we doing here? That was great. But that was a classic. I was telling that story the other day. It's like, whoa, here we go, and that was part of the thing. But when you take a look at this, you know, my mentor said to me, the toughest thing is to lead and develop other people. and you guys have done a really really good job. Talk about that part, because I can tell you this, in every organization that I work with, their challenge is leadership, allowing leaders to come through, and that dictates whether you guys keep going or not. Talk about that focus, from your Kellys to your Michaels, the guy that does that weird thing.
Yes. It's very, I mean, it's very, very important. Obviously, we're trying to surround ourselves with people that are better than we are. And that's for people that are on staff with the organization, and so the same thing as agents that are part of the organization. People that are more intelligent, more successful. We're always trying to reach up in relationships, and we feel that we have a responsibility to help the agents, either new or existing, reach the level of success that we've been fortunate enough to have. And again, we feel it's a duty and an obligation to create an opportunity for people to be able to get that. Does everybody want it? Not necessarily, but so Mark and I have created, really a platform where it's a collaborative environment. It's really all hands on deck. We truly look at our agents like our partners. We truly give a what about our agents, and I think that spreads. We're surrounding ourselves. Since we're an open book, we're surrounding ourselves with other agents that are open books.
Well,
We do a thing every single Wednesday now, all day, every single Wednesday. There's always a class going on in our Scottsdale office, in our training room, which can fit about 80 people, from a new agent orientation to an A to Z class to a prospecting, open houses, farming class. There's always something going on all day, every single Wednesday. All agents know that they can come, and we're there. We're involved. Our agents are there. We have some of our other agents that have offered themselves up. It's not like we're paying them. They've offered themselves up to come in and instruct a class and say, hey, look, this is how I do video. This is how I edit. This is how I do an open house. This is how I farm, and my strategies that are working. And so we've created, and we've been incredibly fortunate. That's one of the coolest things that, Mark and I can say about, my home community organization, is that we have some of the best people, and we have to believe that it starts at the top in the environment that we've created, the people that we want to surround ourselves with. And I think this goes across all walks of life. I think we have to be very explicit with what we want. A lot of times we expect our staff, we expect our family and friends to just know what we want and what we're trying to attract. But no, that's not the case, right? I mean, we have to be explicit with each other, me and Mark, sometimes, on what it is we want. Sometimes he gets a little more explicit than I do. That's just how he rolls.
Well, there's a couple things I want to point out here, though, too, so that people can really capture it, because it's what you do. So we're talking to the here's what we do, but I want to get underneath it so everyone hears this. One of the things, ladies and gentlemen, I want to point out to you that Jeremy talked about is our partners. And 99% of broker, owner, managers, real estate companies all ask this question: are your agents your customer, or are they your business partner? And they're not your customer, they're your business partner. And so what's taking place, and again, I'm that third party observer of their organization, and work a lot in that marketplace, is they run a flat organization that's really bottom up. And what has happened is they've enrolled people. The mistake that many people make is this top down thing. People didn't come into real estate to have a top down experience. They left top down. They left corporate America. And so what's happening is you're leveraging yourself by the brilliance of the human resource you're pulling in. I think the other point that I want to make too is I know that you guys participate at a high level and bring your competency, which you do have. You're not just business managers, business owners. You're competent in the marketplace. But a point that I want to really bring home here too is I will tell broker owner managers, listen, you know what? Go around the roster, go down the roster. Who's the best at open house? Who's the best at video? And have them come. Oh, our agents don't want to. Well, you've got a scarce environment. And that's number one, or number two, you haven't tried and you're scared, or number three, here's the big piece: the best way you can acknowledge someone is saying, you're an expert, we honor you, would you like to contribute? And it's human nature to want to contribute. And the beauty is, you have literally, based on statistics, some of the best in the world in real estate in your environment that contribute.
We do.
I mean, we're so fortunate. I mean, that's just it. Not just successful and talented individuals, but incredibly successful and talented agents. And like I said, they want to give back. So,
in looking at you guys' recruiting, I'm going to go over to Mark here in the recruiting right now. If you were to take a look at the dynamics, are you guys mailing out flashy postcards to get agents to join your company? What level of snail mail is taking place in your recruiting and growth right now?
Well,
Zero.
Yeah.
yeah, we're not we're not mailing out anything for that matter. Nothing whatsoever. So
How about a fancy brochure?
not even a fancy brochure.
You're kidding me. Oh my gosh.
So
we have one if someone wants it.
We can make really good ones if you like. So we're right now we've got a really good thing going on with the organic, but also we still stick to our principles. It's the phone, it's the schools. The real estate schools are a very huge resource to what we're doing. It's finding our favorite agents. I don't mean like favorite person, but you choose your top list of people, and you constantly want to provide them with the most content and the most information, and also support. I mean, I give support to agents that aren't even with us, that call me up and ask questions, and part of it's because we've become friends, but the other part too is I think they recognize that you call me up, I don't really care. I'd love to help you any way I can help you do better in your business. Whether you're with us or not is ultimately going to bring the destination to be my home. That's the way we see it. But also too, we've got multiple people now, so it's not just Jeremy and I. Because when Jeremy and I first started this, we were the recruiters, we were the accountants, we were everything. Now we've got myself, we've got Jeremy, and we've got multiple people, our organization, that are recruiting for us as well. So
your phone, I mean, your basics are the telephone, email, interview, follow up. Would that put it in a nutshell?
Yeah. And so in social media,
So yes, you guys do a great job. I'll use you guys as an example a lot of times with other broker owners, and again, it comes back to the value of the network. I'll say, you know what, just go watch these guys. I think you'll know they're not a secret brokerage, that they're about, the message is growth, and people can see that and experience it. But you're doing the basics, and I think that the point to make here is that you're doing the same things that you expect your agents to do in the marketplace. Right. So let's see. Number one, and it's one of the things that I found too back in my days as a branch manager. On my best recruiting months as a branch manager, we had our best sales, and people say, well, yeah, because you could bring someone over and they bring their listings and sales over. No, I mean, it takes time to move that stuff over. Sometimes companies wouldn't release their stuff. They mirror my activity, and so right. that's the key piece there. You guys are in the trenches, sticking with the basics. It's nothing fancy.
There's nothing really crazy fancy at all. It's all part of it too is I love, and I'll do a plug for you, I love the Real Recruiter because it keeps you tasked in regards to who you need to talk to, who you need to follow up with, when's the last time you touched them, and also what you're delivering. We deliver the business plan. That's the business assessment is one of the greatest things that the system has, and it also puts them on the coaching tips and the drips, etc. So before they've even had a chance sometimes to meet us or talk to us, they've already been touched by us like 40 or 50 times.
Sure.
And I mean, I love it. I love it. So that technology helps indeed, but also we are, regardless of the technology aspect, the system in place, we also ourselves are the ones that are taking the initiative, that are following up with the agent, and whether it be on Facebook or via text or via phone call or even an email, it's good old-fashioned prospecting tactics that agents should be doing for their business itself, number one, but also as a brokerage. And I think that's where it kind of goes back before, where a lot of agents or brokerages plateau at 50 or 60, is because that's where the real challenge comes.
It's the number. It's the magic number all the time when I get calls.
It really is. And Jeremy and I, we're not arrogant about it at all. Never want to be. Never will be. Jeremy said that we surround ourselves with people that are smarter and better than us, that make more money than us.
Yeah, right. You guys got some of these guys you bring on, like, whoa.
Yeah, we get to see the 1099s that come out, and we're like, oh, are we sure we should be doing this?
Right.
But it makes us feel good. It makes us feel good because we know that what we've done is working, and ultimately our end goal is a much bigger picture, and we have a very, very, very big dream in mind for my home group, and it's obviously big here, hyper local, so we're known here in our local real estate space, but we also want to be known in the national real estate space as that too, is to where we're an abundance of knowledge. We're here to help you grow your business, and really, it's not us. It's not just Jeremy and I. We allow other leaders to lead. We allow other people in our organization to hold a class, to teach a class. We allow teams to recruit to our agents within our brokerage, because that's another piece that we've done, that we've implemented, but bringing these big producing teams that are ranked nationally, like you said, across the nation and the world, and we allow them to have the resource of our agents. And what's great is they're still with the brokerage, so they're still with my home group, whether they choose the team or not. They have options with us too. So we've given the agent, we haven't pigeonholed them into one type of structure. They have an option. They can choose a team. They can be mentored. They can go on a mentorship program. So we've got all these great things that we have in front of the agent for them to choose from. So it's almost hard for them not to make the decision right then and there. So part of it is we've mastered that interview process too, understanding what agents are wanting, why agents aren't choosing us over other brokerages, and then filling that gap. Like, okay, well, why did they join the other brokerage? Oh, it was because this mentorship program. Well, crap, we basically mentor every single one of our agents. We just have to make that as part of the package.
Right.
So that was one of the things that we implemented and changed. We were listening to the marketplace. We were listening to what other agents wanted. So it's not about us. We literally listen to what other agents are wanting and what the marketplace is needing.
So, and in looking at, I think it's been, gosh, I would say from my recollection, what is it, 12 months or 18 months ago, when you really started to bring on, and most recently you have too, these nationally recognized agents that have joined your company. Because first there's that sticking point. We were playing around got to 37 agents, and then we hung around the 100 agent space, and then boom, we rocketed forward. What was it, if you were to say, that moved you to the space where you had a presence and the capability to start bringing in top producing teams to your organization? What shifted there? What made that happen? And, fast forwarding, not so much, but if you look at the window of the top teams that have just joined you, what do you think the key was to that? I mean, it wasn't some big nationally recognized brand. It wasn't a huge relocation. It wasn't a promise of leads. I mean, I'm not talking out of school on any of those, am I?
No, not at all. No, I mean, part of it, I think, is just making that decision and having the belief in yourself that we are worthy, that we can add value, because we can
Mindset.
add value. That's just it. I mean, you almost feel not worthy when you're just starting up. Not worthy that top agents in the marketplace can join you, and maybe you go after the new agents and whatever it is. Not that shouldn't be a funnel, a funnel of your business. We always like to look at it as as funnels. What are those key activities? What are those key things you can control? What are those key funnels of your business? And this transcends again into an agent's business or a broker owner's business. So, but again, we believed in ourselves that we could help a team grow.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the principles are the same, and we're doing that. We're proving, we're the proof in the pudding, right, of how to grow an organization, similar strategies and tactics that an agent's going to use to then grow their business or grow their team. And again, I think now we've reached the point where people want to be a part of something bigger than their next transaction, something and it is about relationships, and it is about knowing that, hey, we have broker owners in our back pocket that are here for us, that truly care about our success before their own. Again, we've sacrificed ourselves. We have truly cared and continue to care about our agents and their business, really more than we care about our own. So people, I think, want to be a part of something that's bigger. We're seeing agents, top producers, that are even switching over to us from similar models, comp structure models. So it's not about any one thing. It's not about a financial thing or a cost or this or that or what we can do or what we can't. They just want to be a part of something bigger, something that's moving forward and growing and trying to stay on the cutting edge.
Well, and you touched on, and there are a few things that I want everyone to hear here, and I'm sure they did, is mindset. What's interesting is I reflect back. Josh has me pop in on one of his 12 calls of his boot camp, his 12-week boot camp. So I'm
Yeah.
a guest speaker in one of his, and I do the thing on leadership and building a team and recruiting because I get to work with him and his team in that aspect. And the feedback that I got during it was great. And then in the end, Josh opens it up and says to the agents, what are your questions on this webinar? Mindset. And then I'm speaking up in Edmonton a couple weeks ago, and Ryan and Michael go before me, and I say, okay, I've got the PowerPoint, and here I go. What would you like me to talk about? I knew where I was going. They said mindset, and so that's a critical piece that people have to capture. You got to believe in yourself. But the other thing too, that you guys, I don't think you skirted over it, but is relentless a fair word to use when I describe your gentleman's application of the telephone in your recruiting?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to be. The other thing too. I mean, that's one of the pieces, right? And that's how people want to speak with you.
Yes.
Some people want to read an email. I know you talk about the hub and spoke theory, and we're trying to be masters of that theory as well. We want to be on all the channels.
Mm-hmm.
So people want to have a conversation. They want to see you face to face. They want to see what your blog looks like and your video and your social media presence. And you didn't post for 2 weeks on your social media business page. What's going on over there? So you got to be conscious of all these different areas and how do people want to interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these principles are the very same principles that an agent needs to take and then relate to their business. How do people want to interact with you? And you better be on the channels that they want to be on, right? Or you're failing. So yes, the phone was a huge thing. Why? We can control that. We can control how many calls we're making. We know if we, again, same thing for an agent. What happens if you make 50 calls today? What happens if you make 100 calls today or 200, so on. And you can control that. Again, we have these lofty, this lofty vision and these goals, just like an agent says, hey, I want to close 10 million this year, or I want to help 100 families this year. Well, you can't just say that and say that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It's the things that you can control that are going to help get you there. And yeah, you talk about mindset, we believed in ourselves so much, but at the same time, we made the decision,
right? Right.
Truly in our minds, in our hearts, in our guts, we made the decision, and we just made the decision. This is what we're going to do, and we're not going to waver, and we're not going to second guess ourselves and say, hey, look, there's more money in production, or there's this, or maybe we could do that. We're going to see it through. And we're not going to be stopped. And making that decision, I mean, again, I don't care what it is, this decision to lose 20 pounds, the decision to, or the really.
And you've done that, man. Whoa, you got all over that fitness thing.
Do that too.
Yeah. Well, and it's what you're talking about is the two different types of leadership that we see telling people what to do or modeling and facilitating, and we know which one gets the result. I mean, first of all, you look at your two silos. The number one is constantly replacing yourself will dictate. If we sit and have a conversation at the end of the year and you didn't hit 1,000, we say, you know what? Here's where we could have done better in replacing ourselves. In other words, transferring our skill sets to other people, because otherwise we're capped. And then the same thing though too in modeling to your agents. I mean, what you talked about earlier is the fact that you have agents coming in that are growing a business. You're taking, saying, listen, here's how we scaled our business. We're a brokerage. You're a brokerage within a brokerage. So again, you're modeling it. You're doing it every single day. And so that pulls people to you instead of this we're so wonderful thing that, by the way, no one's too excited about anymore. I mean, it doesn't work. It's beautiful. Let's talk about, the infusion of value and goodwill into the marketplace. And, I think that one of the things that we've talked about is this culture that has a pull. People see productive people are coming, and so that means more productive people want to be a part of what you're doing. But I want to go back to the dose. Talk to me about, and talk to everyone else. Talk about the dose. Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
I do too. I can't wait to get back on, man. I'm lined up.
We can't wait to have you when you come. It's so much fun.
Talk about that vision, you guys, and when you rolled. Let's go back, and maybe there's some discovery for you guys. Because sometimes we can get going, and then wow, it's good to let's pause and go back to How did that manifest, and what was the thought processes? So let's go back to the beginning of the dose. Talk to everyone about
Yeah.
that and how that's progressed.
Well, it's funny because it was out of our office before. You came before the
That's
first time. It was out
right.
of our old office in a little tiny room, and now it's progressed to the studio. You know, it was slow. It was progressive to kind of capture on. It was really at first just meant for the brokerage, and then we're like, well, we can let everybody on here, and we slowly started to bring on other guests. Obviously, you were a guest. You've been a guest multiple times. Can't wait to have you on again. And as we started realizing, okay, we're bringing these guests on to talk about their business and what they're doing, it kind of dawned on us, well, my goodness, this is such a great tool for us. Number one, to show the value that we're trying to give to the industry itself,
Mhm.
instilling the goodwill into the industry, and the guests themselves, the big producing agents that are guests on the dose, are seeing it themselves too. Like, well, these guys are giving back. Like, they're not asking for anything. They're just giving back this information, providing it on an easy platform to listen to. It comes via text to your phone. It's also on SoundCloud and iTunes. You can get it anywhere
And will you,
now.
Mark, let me interrupt real quick because I want to make sure that we don't go past it. Can you guys give the details for all the listeners here? Because
Yeah.
this will go out into my database via email to 13,000 broker owner managers. So can you
Sure.
share the details so that they can follow and listen in and see what you guys are doing with the dose?
It's actually, I'll make it real simple. So basically, it's daily tips, insights, and business strategies into your real estate business.
Mhm.
Okay, and it comes Monday through Friday via text. They're about 5 to 10 minute segments. If you compose a text to the phone number 77948, the phone number 77948, and in the message just type daily dose and make sure it's daily dose, all one word, because your phone's going to try to make it 2 words, and just hit send. It opts you in. And again, it's just daily nuggets of information to help you grow your business. I mean, we have top producers on there that literally lay out their systems,
Yeah.
their strategies, what they do, how they geographically farm, how they call, what they say, scripts.
Mhm.
I mean, you name it. They're literally just saying, "Here you go. Here's my business. Listen to it." And it's all just for listening in. I mean, it's become a platform again for agents. We have agents have come to us. Someone went to Jeremy in the gym. Jeremy didn't even know who the guy was, and was like, "Hey, man, I love the dose. I'm listening to dose." And Jeremy's like, "Wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen happen before."
Right.
Somebody
Yeah.
you don't know is saying and giving the success of the dose and saying how they listen in every Monday. We have a team, a big team here in the valley who's not even with our brokerage. He requires that as his listening in. His team has to listen every single morning to the dose.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that is also kind of put a testament to what we're trying to do, where it's, again, even if you're brand new or you're existing in the business, it just is a way to charge up your morning. Get
Well,
started on the right foot, get
And again, like
started with
Mark
the right
said,
mindset, and get started with the right, the right types of direction of where to go.
yeah, like Mark
With your
said, we
business.
were looking for another way to kind of to reach people. You know, this is a super easy way to reach people. I mean, again, it goes out via text. You click the link, it plays right from your phone every morning. It's super easy. Again, quick to the point. There's not a lot of fluff. We do have some fun with it. You know what I mean? Some sound effects and different things. You know, we got our guy behind the glass, turned it into a real show. I know, John, you've been on there. But you know, again, it's a little bit entertaining, but it's mostly, you know, rock solid nuggets and
Mhm.
insight from people that are out there doing it right now. I mean, you know, we've had billions of dollars worth of producers on, all in all. I mean, you know, well north of
Oh.
100 million of producers that are, or you know, individual producers and
Mhm.
teams that have been on there. And again, they're opening it up.
Mhm.
You know, they're opening it up. So again, we take on that cost, we take on that time. To produce the show, to schedule these guys to come on, and again, we're gracious of everyone that comes on the show and opens up and shares. And again, it's just another way of us executing what's our duty to extract really information from people, if not ourselves, but extract information from others and then share it with the world.
Well, and I think, and so now, you know, what we're doing and what you guys have articulated is, I hope that everyone's captured this. What you do is really simple. It's just not easy.
Correct.
Common sense, just not common practice.
Right. It's not a science project. And so, but you start looking at all the pieces, the simplicity of the growth. And again, not never to minimize what you guys have done, but listen, You guys are on the phones. You're using email marketing. You're using CRM database management. You're looking at open rates. You're also asking your sphere of influence, your agents to bring people into the company, and then you're
Yes.
also allowing the consumer, the agent, because right now it's B2C. Every agent out there you're trying to recruit is the consumer for now. That's a B2C model. And to bring that consumer into B2B business partnership, they've got to have an experience. See, everyone else is into this, let me tell you how great I am, or let me have someone else tell you how great I am. And then there's the third person that says, let me demonstrate how great we are. And that's
Yeah.
that key piece, because you do the telephone, you do the interview and the email follow-up, but then you go into that final piece of what the dose does, what the training does that you've opened up to people is the, but let me do it a little bit different. Let me demonstrate how good we are, because actions speak louder than words. And the final piece is you're allowing people to have an experience of what it's going to be like when they join, before they join.
No doubt about it. And one other nugget I want to add to that, if I could, is that and I know we've mentioned it just a little bit ago to a degree, but is really truly at the core of us is caring about our agents.
Mm-hmm.
An example of that is we all know the broker owners out there that bring in various partners in the industry. They're compensated maybe in different ways, and I'm not trying to call anyone out or anything. It is what it is, right? And but the broker owner becomes the benefit of that, and it's not necessarily the agents. We're like everyone else in the fact that, hey, we have partners, we have people that in the industry we know that can produce at a high level, and so our partnerships look like, well, how can we go and do an event for our agents? How can we bring in people like yourself,
Yeah, Grant Cardone. I mean, come on, you brought in big
right?
hitters.
April 18th.
What's that?
Well, you guys have brought in some big. I mean, and let's talk about that real quick. I mean, who have you've had Grant in? Just some of these high level names over the last. What, has it been 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah.
In the last 6 months,
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone. We've had Mark Victor Hansen, in for an event, which is number one author on the planet, Chicken Soup for the Soul, that we had in for a big event that we had about 750 people at. Again, yourself, and that's just really in the last few months between the three of you guys, and then another one coming up here soon. But that's what we're all about. Again, how can we give back? How can we help the agents? How can we co-host or co-brand or an event that adds value and really gives back? Because again, I can't say it enough. We really do care, and if our agents are growing our business, that's a win for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So and so let's talk about this because what we know with growth is there's always pain with the pleasure. And yet one of the things that you haven't had is the big fallouts that can happen a lot with growth. I mean, it's one of the things that I'll work with people a lot is, what you've got to do is, and today you're at 550 agents. I know how you guys think. You're behaving today like 1,000 agent company because you can't catch up to it. You need to start behaving. You need to be scaled. But it probably took you some time to learn that. How did you get through? And we don't need to go through I mean, every brokerage firm has their challenges, but I know that you had hiccups, you had challenges, you had points along the way, I'm quite sure, when you started to grow, where it was like, whoa, you know what? This is going faster than what we're ready for. The key piece that I want to come back to is that, and we've never had a discussion about something happening or not. I just know it's called life and it's called being in business. How have you gotten through the growing pains without having any sort of, in some cases, I've seen mass agents leave companies. I've seen, maybe a flat line of growth where the brokerage has had to go into defensive mode. I know there's brokerage firms that'll listen and say, well, we don't bring in that many and we just only hire these many. And I've heard that one and I love that one because I always say, great, let's meet with the CFO and let's talk about your standard. Well, what are all these zeros on your roster then? Because I thought that was your, I mean, so anyways, how have you been able to, in this exponential growth, keep a trajectory of a positive agent net gain through the challenges that happen, man?
Well, part of it is, fortunately, having again, I'm throwing a good plug out to you again, but just having a good coach.
Uh,
When we met, when we were 100 some agents, you had told us at that point we need to be structured like we can handle 5 or 600. So at that time, we really did, and you said the question of, oh my gosh, this is happening really fast. It's actually it's never fast enough for Jeremy and I. It still isn't fast. It's still at 50 agents a month. Still is not fast enough for us. So early along, we have listened to what you said. We listened to what other people say. Again, we love listening to people that are brilliant and smart, and set ourselves up for that. So we had systems in place. We knew what our vision was and where we were going and how many agents we wanted to get to by a certain amount of time. So we kind of set everybody up, staff, our CFO, knowing what we have to do. So literally, when we were at 125 agents strong, I mean, we were set up to be at 1,000. I mean, we were set.
So here's, and this goes back to Jeremy, your point too, and it wasn't the word, but it was what you were articulating. Is we're so vague. You guys were clear about the vision, and so that's the key piece I want everyone to grab is you said, okay, here's where we're going, but what you made sure of doing is you aligned your people to it too, so they were ready. Mark, that's what I'm hearing you say that you did. So it wasn't like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, hey, here's the warning shot, you guys, and it's a bazooka, man, it's coming.
Right.
Right.
And that's what we did. We our meetings every Monday morning are in relation to that. Like, okay, how many agents have we got so far? We got to get 60 this month. We've got to get to these numbers this month. People already are in the organization know what we publicly declared where our numbers going to be. So that was out there too. So we're constantly in front of them, speaking to them. So when they're in that meeting, they already have the mindset of Jeremy and I, where it's like, okay, we better be telling them what we're doing to get to 60 agents this month, or they're going to grind us.
And listen, and I want to stay here, and this is where it's, what I said to you guys is it's so simple, but it's not easy. That right there, I will ask organizations all the time is, are you do your agents know where you're going? Oh, but if we told them that, I mean, they get afraid and this and that. And you guys have gone out in front. I mean, there's this transparency thing. We've got these words and terms in our industry that are so overused. Well, they're so overstated, but not done. You guys are doing it. You're just there's no vagueness, there's clarity, and you're aligning, and your people are enrolled.
Yeah,
that's just it. That's just it. I mean, you see agents helping agents, and Mark noted or was mentioning this earlier. I mean, we've created an environment where agents are helping agents. We're all together in this collaborative environment, and again, it's because we are explicit, like you're saying. We're all guilty of that, not being as explicit with exactly what we're
So good.
with what we want and where we're going, and we just look at it and say, hey, look, we just brought on one of the top agents in the country, Jason Mitchell and his incredible team. I mean, they closed 31 million last month in the month of March. I mean, it's off the charts. And so, we're incredibly excited. How does that help the other agents? Well, hopefully they see the value that adds. That creates more exposure, more notoriety. Our luxury, presence is increasing. There's a lot of value that people can
that you're communicating, though. That's the piece, Jeremy. You see, here's what's so basic. People have these conversations, but they don't go out and share. They just do the, hey, look who joined us. You're constantly about it's the simple communication. What's in it for all of us because of that?
We put it out there. I mean, we put everything out there. We put our leaderboard. I'm sure you deal and know a lot of broker owners, again, with all due respect, that maybe post a top 10 leaderboard just within their inner organization. We put it out to the world.
Yeah.
We want to celebrate our people. We want to celebrate whether it's a top producer like Jason Mitchell or whether it's a brand new agent out of real estate school. I mean, you never know who the next top producer is going to be because everybody had to start somewhere, right? I mean, Jason Mitchell was a brand new agent at some point.
We all were.
Looked over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody was.
We want to celebrate everybody. We want to put it out and put everybody on a stage. And again, it's about creating an environment. Okay, well, what are you going to do with it? I've created a hashtag recently, and I love putting it on everything. Hashtag, who wants to get it?
I've seen that lately.
Okay, good.
Who wants to
take
get
it,
it?
use it. Just make sure that you quote me. But
credit Jeremy Clevin. Got you handled, brother.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, I just, it's all about, who wants to get it.
Mm-hmm.
The business is out there. I don't care if you're in a marketplace of 10,000 agents, 100,000 agents. The same amount of people, give or take, are going to buy homes in your marketplace every single year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't care if you have 10,000 or 100,000 in that very same marketplace. Who's going to go out and capture that business? It's the same thing for agents. Who's going to go out there and make themselves known to the real estate community? Who's going to go out and get those agents and attract them to them, get in front of enough people, enough value transference, enough, exposure into what you do and who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and how you can help people. And you get in front of enough people, create enough opportunities, and it's going to happen, right?
Well, it's funny too. We mentioned the most recent one we brought on, but like when we brought on Daniel Barraza, when we brought on Joshua Smith. Joshua Smith is really the first big team we brought on. Daniel Barraza was the first big producer we brought on. He's also
but he's more homegrown.
Yeah, he was homegrown. I met him when you guys first came in and visited me. We had our first session in Vegas. What a great human being. He's a great human being too.
He's a great. Daniel Barraza is a phenomenal guy and does phenomenal production. Then here comes Joshua Smith with his big splash, right? And like you said, we just communicate with everybody. Like, and when at the time the brokerage is like, well, who is this Joshua Smith? And we're like, well, here's Joshua Smith. Here's why this is a killer. Here's why he is such a good piece of the organization. And sure enough, he went from X amount when he came over to a team of 60 plus agents now, and that just helps everybody.
Yeah.
And then comes on other groups. Then comes on Jason Mitchell. We've got a big group coming on from Remax. We can't just say his name just yet because he's not official, but he's got his team coming over. He's a killer. So again, these types of things create a following, but it's, again, you said it perfectly. Jeremy and I do communicate to everybody, well, why it's good, who they are. We welcome them to the organization, and then we allow everybody else to welcome them into the organization as well. And it's you have to make a public declaration of all this stuff. If you're not publicly declaring it on social media or somewhere for everyone to see and explain it, like you said, John, you're missing the opportunity of why you bring on somebody so big, and again, why that helps not just the brokerage, everybody.
So, well, guys, I want to kind of recap what we talked about in the simplicity of it all in looking at your organization, and certainly we have to do this again at the 1,000 threshold. But to recap, let's see what I heard. Our agents aren't our customer; they're our business partner. We take the collective genius of our collective human beings that are in our organization to support us. We are committed to value transference, replacing ourselves on a daily basis. We do the good old, same old, pick up the phone, schedule appointments, verbalize our value proposition. Someone measures whether we're worth it or not. We follow up. They're in drip email. Nothing fancy. And most important though too is that ultimate belief in self. But then the final part that I think that really resonates though is what you're creating is this borrowed belief that people have. You talk about your environment, they see what a Joshua does, and Joshua gives back. I mean, then you bring others in and they start growing a team because they see someone else, hey, if that person can do it, so can I. That borrowed belief part that's part of your culture. In closing, because I just took a look here and I want to certainly honor your guys' time. We can go on an hour 15. I dig it. We could go on forever. Mark, what would be any parting levels of brilliance that you could share with brokers, owners, managers, recruiters, anyone at any level that you could pass on some inspiration and some words of wisdom to do their job and show up at their highest expression of self?
Absolutely. The one thing I'll say is be humble and give back and put in the work, and whatever you commit to, do it 110%, do it better than everybody else does it, and just keep your eye on the prize, because there's always going to be something that derails you. There's always going to be something that takes you off path and off track, but you've got to stay focused and keep it knowing that if that's what you're set out to do, you've got to keep the mindset that that's what you're set out to do. But again, I'll go back to the first thing I said is just be humble. Cool. You know, be humble and give back. And that to me has worked out very well. I think both for Jeremy and I, because you know, there's a lot of arrogance in our business, and I laugh because it's fun and it's fun to see, and it's also sometimes, you know, annoying. Yeah. So to the owners, just be humble and instill that goodwill, as John always says, and provide a platform for people to learn and be a knowledge source, and you'll get the return 100%.
And where's the best place for people to reach out to you, Mark, if they want to connect with you? Email or?
If you want, you know what? Send me an email. It's super easy. mark@myhomegroup.com. MARK, mark@myhomegroup.com. Send me an email. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I'm an open book. You know, with the amount of emails that Jeremy and I get, give me a couple hours to respond, but I'll get to you. I promise.
You know, it's tough. It's tough when you become big, shot, important, man. You know, you got to filter those things.
No way.
Jeremy.
Yep.
What have you got? Some parting words that you can share.
You know, my thing, you know, would be, you know, we're big on commitment. You know, commit, recommit, and be consistent. You know, again, with the commitment, it all starts with making that decision. It all starts with making the decision that you're going to do it. You believe in yourself more than anyone will, and you're not going to be stopped. And again, like kind of like Mark said, you know, we're human. We all fall off track. We all slip up. We have bad weeks, bad days, bad months, whatever it is. Recommitting to what you're trying to do, you know, and having huge goals. You know, huge, off the charts, almost unattainable goals. And when you put it out there and it truly becomes wildly, wildly important to you, you know, going back and focusing every single day on the things that you can control that can get you to that number. And, you know, it's all about consistency. Consistency is the new currency. The people that are getting paid these days, and again, I don't care if you're an agent in production or if you're a broker owner or if you're going to a flower shop, the people that are consistent, delivering a consistent message, consistent with their value, consistent with the follow-up, those are the ones that are getting paid, and those are the ones that are growing and doing it, you know, and yeah.
Good. Well, guys, thanks so much. And I know that I say a big thank you for all of the people that are getting an opportunity to come inside your guys' organization, inside your heads and your hearts in this. And I will look forward to seeing you guys on April 18th down in the Valley of the Sun.
Be relevant coming to Phoenix.
All right, guys. Thanks. Oh, one other piece, too. I want to remind everyone, the Daily Dose, dial 77, text 77948, and then type in Daily Dose, DAILYDOSE, all one word, and they can get some of that goodness, that value and goodwill that you guys are sharing, correct?
Yep, you can
Absolutely.
go. You can also go a friendly note. You can also go on SoundCloud.com, and then just type in My Home Group Daily Dose. I mean, you can search out, you know, Joshua Smith, Jason Mitchell, Daniel Barraza, Andrew Bloom, Russell Shaw. I mean, we're talking, you know, elite producers, not just on a local level, that are elite producers on a national level, that tell you how they structure their business and everything that they're doing. I mean, it's a really, really good stuff. So, yeah. And for people that want to reach out to me, you know, Jeremy at myhomegroup.com, JEREME at myhomegroup.com. John, it's an honor as always, my man. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, man. Talk to you soon.